What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Rap Party. Thank you for joining us. Raise your glasses if you have them. If you don't, well, then you should have one, right? This is the show about indie films by indie filmmakers and indie film fans. This is where we talk about all kinds of things. And there's a lot of stuff to talk about today.
So much stuff.
To my left, I'd like to introduce Zaid Velez.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing? I'm Said Velez. I'm a producer / director, and I love films just the way you guys do, just the way my bros and sisters from another mother.
Yeah. And over here to my right is Conrad De La Torres. Conrad.
What's going on? Conrad De La Torres, owner, director, producer, owner of Digital Caviar. Some other business partners aren't here right now, but
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Just an all-around badass.
All around badass.
And if you tuned in before, you at least have heard of, but probably haven't seen, Nadine Rodriguez over there.
Say what?
Hi guys, I'm Nadine Rodriguez. I'm a 3D artist and an artist overall, I guess.
Yes,
Nadine
artist
loves
overall.
snakes, and she also loves
She helps
having
produce
lovely.
the show as well. She's usually in the background, responding to people,
Yeah,
clicking away,
keeping
and all that
attentive.
good stuff. So.
Yeah, so if you're
Much
tuning in,
respect.
if you have any questions or if you have anything you want to join in on the conversation, please write Nadine. And if you happen to be catching this on YouTube, go ahead and leave comments in the comments, questions in the comments section. We will get back to you and we'll answer them on the next show. That is what we do here at the Rap Party.
Not to mention, don't forget, Nadine loves mermaid on her beer glass.
Yes,
Mermaid.
I need a mermaid in
Ha,
every
you know
beer.
what? This crazy thing is that I didn't get that. Zaid's like, I need a Guinness with a mermaid glass. I'm like, what?
Just ask for it. Trust me, they'll know what you're talking about.
No, she didn't actually. She was like,
She's-
That's a
and
mermaid
then,
glass.
and then the
No,
lights
I-
turned on
I'm-
in Damien's eyes. He's like, right there. First of all, class.
I'm playing like Where's Waldo? I Spy. I'm looking at every glass. I'm like, mermaid. I see a tail. I'm thinking it's Pisces, Pisces. So why not? But it's like, okay, it's a mermaid submerged.
Yeah.
Technically, I think it's like
It's a
coppertail or
mermaid.
something like that.
It's like a drowning whale.
It's a mermaid.
It's a
She's
mermaid.
diving.
Okay.
Okay,
See,
the
she's
diving
into
mermaid.
the waves.
I don't see no boobies.
I digress.
Yeah, you know what? It's not a
Digress.
mermaid unless you see boobies.
Yes,
That
there
is
you
the
go.
It's a mer
At
person.
least some seashells. You know
Some
what I'm saying?
yeah,
it could
right.
be a merman. A merman.
It's true. That could be a merman.
Mhm.
See? Yeah.
It's
Why
a
are you
mer.
being so sexist?
It's a mer people.
Mer person.
It's
It's
a
a
mer
mer
person.
person.
It's a mer people, okay? Relax yourself, alright?
Tranquilo,
Hey.
tranquilo. It's a mer person, okay? It's a mer person.
Okay, relax.
Okay,
It's a
so
mer people, okay? Relax. Okay, chill out.
okay, so speaking of all this alcohol and mer people, I gotta say the shout out to Bricks.
Yes.
The Bricks downstairs.
Yes.
Hey, Josh and all of them at the Bricks. You guys always take care of us. Thank you so much for our drinks. That really does help a rap party become a rap party.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
I mean, you can't really use the word party without at least
Little
one
bit
beer,
of
a little
libation.
little
You
something.
cannot
Yeah.
use
The bricks of
word-
Ybor, that is. That's what that's
You
at.
can't use the word rap party without mentioning our brothers that aren't here,
Yes.
Mike and Hector.
Yeah,
Right.
so obviously one of the things about the rap party is that we are working professionals. So sometimes some of us won't be here. I mean, let's face it. We're going to be on shoots. We're going to be on location. Yesterday we were scouting for an upcoming shoot. It just happens, So if one of our members aren't here, it's probably because they're out doing what we do best.
Yeah.
The other job.
Yeah, and sometimes it's even just hanging out with the family because anybody who's in production, who's doing this full time or even freelancing, they know that this takes a lot out of you sometimes. It's hard to spend time with your family and it's hard to do all that kind of stuff. So sometimes you got to get away. You have to take that time away and spend it with your family. If you aren't doing that and you're in production and you have the time, hey, make that time for your family. It's important, just as important as your career.
Balance, right?
Yeah, you have to find that balance. But
So important.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So.
So, I mean, we have a lot to talk about today, but today a number of things happened. First of all, I would put a spoiler warning up. We will talk about some films, and when we talk about films, we don't expect you to have seen them, but when we mention them, we will let you know. We do not hold back. We're not a news channel per se, so we don't really talk about, things and say, well, we can't talk about this or not. From a film fan standpoint, we're just going to talk about when we talk about it. So that's just how it is.
We will give you the warning of spoiler, though.
We'll-
Spoiler
yeah.
alert.
We'll say spoiler alert, but that's about it.
We'll do our best to let you guys know if we're gonna throw some spoilers out there. But if we get, we get I know me. I get all passionate. I get up in the moment. If you guys, after a while, if you guys will get to know this, I get up in my high horse and I can't stop myself.
Yeah,
so
no,
I apologize in advance. And it is what it is.
This is your spoiler alert.
This is your
Yeah.
official spoiler
So
alert.
Yes.
once we say the title of the movie we're talking about,
Run.
Yeah, go watch the movie and maybe turn off the. No, don't turn it off. We'll do something. You know,
Yeah.
we'll let you know.
So one of the things we're going to talk about today, because let's face it, it is an important day for all geeks around the world. It is the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. I mean,
Yes.
applause. Yeah, if you're not working some Star Wars gear right now, and you just happen to be a Star Wars fan, take a moment of silence to honor 40 years of Star Wars. I mean, let's face it.
So this is 40 years from The New Hope.
The New Hope. Yeah,
New Hope,
this is,
yes. Let's be
today
specific.
is when New Hope came out.
Yes.
40 years ago.
40 years.
That's crazy.
40
Wow.
years
You know what it
ago.
is? It's like I think I've watched recently. Like I watched Rogue One, and then immediately went home and watched A New Hope. So like for me, it was like only a few months.
So how was it being actually seeing the first Star Wars in the movie theater? When you were...
F you, dude. What?
Wait a minute.
I had to do math. I was doing math. I'm like, what? No,
You son of a
no. I was like, wait a minute. No, I wasn't fucking old enough to watch that shit. I'm like, whoa, okay.
I mean, that
No,
had to
but
be
yeah.
amazing, though.
Well, you know what? They've re-released it in
Yeah.
theaters, so you've had the opportunity.
Well, first of all, not to
No.
mention, if you actually go back and listen to anybody who's ever seen it, it blew people's mind because it had never been done. It's like they were like so ahead of the game.
All right, I'm about to spark a really big controversy here. Who shot first?
Oh, it's definitely Han.
Han. Han?
For sure, 100%.
Han?
Han
Okay,
shot
Han.
for sure.
Yes.
Han? Okay, we're a panel of Han shot first. So if you are not Han shot first,
You can just
I'm giving you the stinky eye, dude.
you can just
Mm.
just stop right there.
Yeah.
Burrito
You,
yourself.
you,
real
will,
quick.
you will not totally understand what's about to go down in this show.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
I understand that some of you are maybe a little younger, just getting into the film biz, but go and ask anybody.
Watch the source
Han
footage.
shot
and
first.
It's,
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't
Han.
understand what we're talking about, Han's shot first.
Then they don't know Star
Choke
Wars, and
yourself.
that's okay.
No.
We're not
That's
prejudiced
okay.
against
They can
non-Star
go now
Wars
and
people.
go back and watch
Do
it
your
and
homework, watch
enjoy it.
and you'll say,
Well,
they
See,
were
I
but
think-
I just
but-
find
but-
it funny that like when it came out, both Steven Spielberg and George Lucas went on vacation because they thought it was gonna be a huge flop. They were like, "This isn't gonna do anything," and now it's one of the biggest series out there.
The thing is about that is that George Lucas, because of the titling of the film, decided to not make the movie a studio film and didn't get the funding from studios because he was going against the film, what's the word? No,
Studio.
Film Association
Association.
of America, and there's a certain way of doing title lists. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna take this movie and I'm gonna make it independently, and I'm gonna make it my own, and it ended up becoming an indie film. He went outside the studio structure.
Star
and-
Wars
I
is
did not
technically
know
an indie,
Yep,
an
the-
indie
Yeah.
film.
the first-
Technically, but we'll talk more about that.
The first Star Wars was definitely an indie film,
Mm-hmm.
but that begs the question:
Yeah.
what constitutes an indie?
We're gonna
film?
get into that a little
So
bit.
many people are like, dude, wait a minute, that's not an indie film. You're saying $30 million. That's a lot of money. They're thinking indie films are like for $20,000.
Right, but
What is your definition? We're all going to talk about what our definition of an
Yes.
indie film is here.
yeah,
Okay?
we're definitely gonna reach. We're gonna come back to that, and Star Wars will be our jump off point because there's definitely there's debate about what constitutes an indie film, and there's some debate, and we're gonna have that debate up here. But there's something else that dropped this weekend, and this is where the spoiler alert comes in. So if you have not seen Alien Covenant, if you haven't seen Alien Covenant, I am talking to you right now. We're going to get into a little bit of Alien Covenant because we need to discuss this film. It just came out, and it has there's two sides of the coin on this film.
Yeah.
And I would like to have a chance to give everybody a chance up here to talk about this film. So if you haven't seen it, I apologize. Earmuffs. We'll do some sort of like waving, like it's okay, we're safe. We'll move on. Go watch Alien Covenant, then you can join the conversation. Please make sure you comment. We would love to hear what you guys say. If you're watching us live on Facebook, go ahead and start commenting on that now. We'll definitely chime in on that here soon.
We're going to talk about Alien Covenant,
So,
so yeah, get ready.
Alien
Yeah.
Covenant. We're going to talk about this right now. Preliminary thoughts. I'm going to start down there with Nadine because Nadine has a special
has
guest.
got some stuff to say.
She has a special
Nadine
guest.
has
What do
some
you got
stuff
here?
to say.
My baby.
Look Look at this. What is this?
Someone
Alien
likes
plushie?
Alien.
A xenomorph plushie?
Yes.
Really?
His name is Ripley.
Oh, irony.
It's because of the six-pack you got right here.
Yeah.
Alien 6. Yeah, it's Ripley. Ripley.
Yeah, Ripley.
So tell me, Nadine, what do you think about Alien Covenant?
Okay, so really, I thought it was going to be a Prometheus sequel. That's what most people thought. I think that's what everybody was waiting for, and it definitely was not. It felt more like like they brushed over everything that was supposed to be the Prometheus sequel, everything that was supposed to be like the story, the explanations, everything that we were supposed to know about the architects and that world. I feel like they brushed over all of that and they're like, okay, let's give them aliens because this is what everybody wants to see, and let's connect this back to all the alien universes so that we can make more alien films. Like that's what it felt to me like. That's what it was. I did enjoy the film though, because I love xenomorphs and I enjoy watching every. I'm sorry, like, well, let me like be with the critical, so that way they don't think like I'm just catering to my babies. But I did enjoy the film a lot because I love seeing all the different versions of the xenomorphs and seeing how it came about. And I do, even though I had conversations with other people who didn't agree with me, I do like their focus on David. Because seeing it, he felt unhinged. It's understandable because he's on this planet all by himself for who knows how long. And his focus, even if he's supposed to be, as close to humans as possible, he's still a machine. And his way of thinking is, I need to get to perfection. I need to make the closest thing to perfect as he can. He knows that he's not perfect. So he's going to try to achieve that no matter what.
Okay. He
is not afraid like we are about dying or being replaced. He doesn't have that fear. That's why I think that's one of the reasons why he doesn't acknowledge humans as worthy, because humans are afraid of progress if it's going to replace them. So his way of thinking, how he went about trying to create the xenomorphs no matter what, I think it was a good focus. Like it made sense to me how he went about it, but I still wanted to see more of the architects though. But
so you're saying that you would sacrifice your body to a face hugger?
I mean, I am smart enough not to go near the things.
Okay, I'm just checking.
The egg peel.
That's the thing.
All right,
That's the thing. I'm like, the one thing that did make me angry was how the acting of the crew it didn't make any sense to me, because I'm like, if you're a crew member, you're not a colonist, you're a crew member, you've been trained, you know the procedures, and then they were just acting like they're just we're on vacation and there's this weird snake, mommy, I'm gonna touch it type of thing. Like they didn't.
Well,
act
they did that in
logical.
Prometheus too, with the whole little, hey, look, here's an alien viper. What?
Yeah,
I would say Prometheus felt a little bit different though, dude. Prometheus felt like you were an archaeologist and you didn't expect that kinda. I mean, like, dude, what happened here? This colony, there's no way you expected this one.
Well, I mean, they didn't. They've never ran into the alien species in Covenant either. So I mean, they could have had a little bit of wonder. Conrad, let me ask you, what did you think about Covenant, and what did you take away from its current plot?
Mixed emotions. I liked it overall. I thought it was cool. I thought the tension was fun. I thought it was a fun. I thought I had more fun with this movie than I had with Prometheus. Just to say that. That being said, I totally agree with what Nadine's saying. I think that there's some character decisions that were made that were totally like, it's like when you watch a horror movie and you're like, why is she going up the stairs when the door is wide open? You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. Like, why is the captain following David at this moment? He shouldn't be following David. He should be talking to his crew and be like, this dude's acting whack. And that's what I would have, I mean, like those things like that were making me really upset. And like you see an egg hatching, you're not gonna sit there and like even if I had no idea what the context of what this thing was. Seeing the way that the whole scene was set up, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. And like I hate moments like that. It's an obvious moment that anybody would be like red, like the alarms would have been, going bam, 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 bam. But aside from that, those movie tropes are there. I really like what they did with David. I really like what they did with Walter. I think it was really cool. I agree they did not do justice to Prometheus. I think if you're looking for architects, what they did with the architects was bastardized.
The architects or engineers?
Engineers.
Engineers.
With engineers was bastardized, and I think the sweep over and the flashbacks were bastardized, and I think they did not do justice to the movie that they're doing. I think they did do justice to where the if they really wanted to go this route to where the xenomorph came from, and I think that was really cool. I like the xenomorphs. I thought they were really cool. But did I see anything different that I've ever seen in any other alien movie? Not really. I thought it was really beautifully shot. I thought they kept the tension cool, and I think that Brie Larson did a really good job at playing that female role, and not doing it over the top. I think Brie Larson really had a chance to ground the film and keep it grounded and keep it together, and so did David.
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah. And I think they did a good job of grounding the film without that kind of acting there to really ground the film. I think it wouldn't have been as good. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think, that's what I think.
But did you like it?
I liked the film, yeah.
You liked it, but you have some critiques, but you liked it.
I liked it more than Prometheus. Yeah, I walked out of the film feeling invigorated and happy and excited. After a couple of days of wrestling with it, it started falling down after, you know what I'm saying?
No, we don't treat you guys. We don't treat you guys any differently. So Zaid, technically, you hadn't seen it.
I hadn't seen it. The one reason why I didn't see it because I want to see what. Not that I ever do, rely on. I like to feel because the one thing I was scared of is okay, they're just gonna try to it's pretty much a remake of the Aliens, and that's what I was like. God, I pray it's not that. And I'm waiting to hear what everyone's saying before I go see it. I was
definitely not that.
I was hoping to get a prequel, if not a prequel. Let me see more of what happened, what happened to them, or even I'm not guessing, involve them somehow. But I'm saying the guy's name, the big giant.
The engineer?
Engineers. I was hoping to hear about their story, because that seems so phenomenal. I mean,
you know what?
I just I'm like, what about them? What happened to them? I mean, they look like they were definitely a species that was way above, and how they couldn't protect themselves against aliens. Obviously, they're almost like a virus. That I want to know about them. I mean.
Well, you'll get to know what happened to them. I'll tell you that much.
I'm seeing as a fan, whatever they say, I'm still gonna go see it.
Right.
So you should definitely watch it though. It definitely is.
Real quick before I get into my opinion, let me ask you guys, and I'll ask mainly you two, as a Prometheus sequel, rate it, and then as an Aliens movie, rate it.
I would say okay.
As a Prometheus sequel first, and then as an Alien film.
I feel like Prometheus kind of let me down a little bit. I went in with really high hopes with Prometheus. It kind of let me down. But if I was somebody my boy Laz out there who loves Prometheus,
hey Laz,
movie. What's up, Laz? I get it. I see where you're coming from. If you really want to watch it in context, as something that's trying to follow up to Prometheus, I wouldn't give it a high marks. I would say it's probably achieved the mark. Not really well. 2 out of 5 stars maybe. If I was gonna do it as an alien film, I'd say it's the third best alien film there is. I'd say it goes Aliens. Even though Aliens is mostly an action film, I still think it handled the xenomorph in a better way, and it had Ripley, and it just was still a really cool film. And I think this is the third best alien film. So.
Okay. All right. Well, high marks for Alien fans, not so high marks for Prometheus fans. Nadine, what do you think?
Yeah, I have to agree because to me this felt like if they're gonna do 3 films for Prometheus, this feels like this is the final. This is just okay. We're leaving this system. We're going somewhere else. We're transitioning now back to the Alien movies. It doesn't feel like a true Prometheus sequel. Again, it felt like they brushed over a lot of things that they should have gone into. It felt like they were trying to please and politely close the Prometheus chapter and then jump back into the action and all the horror of the Alien films, right, and please everybody in that way, because they know for sure that Alien is gonna make the money. It's
right,
gonna make the big money because it has fans and there's already a base that likes
and
it.
It
Prometheus,
has plushies and
it has everything. But then Prometheus didn't do so well in terms of the following because it was a more slower film. It wasn't the same. People were expecting it to be another Alien movie and it wasn't. So a lot of people went with different expectations. So I think in terms of a Prometheus sequel, it doesn't make it.
Well, and I'm just going to give my 2 cents on this one because when it comes to an alien, first of all, I'm a sci-fi fan. We're all sci-fi fans up here. We all love story first. But I also understand that a director, especially someone at the level of Ridley Scott, has to operate within the framework of the studio and his investors. So this is where the movie business aspect of it comes in. You have Ridley Scott, who clearly had a story going when he went into Prometheus, and Prometheus was part one of a story. Clearly, as a creator of a world, you're pretty sure that Ridley Scott probably had 2, maybe 3 stories dealing with Prometheus.
Right.
Yeah.
But because Prometheus, though, we had some people that loved Prometheus, and some people that didn't.
I liked it.
But because Prometheus, box office wise, didn't do what people from a studio standpoint wanted it, projected it to be, he now has to reformulate his plan.
Right.
If he's going to get the funding to go on and move on into the franchise, he has to reformulate his plan. So now he's in a situation where he has to go, okay, I had maybe that whole story that transpires in Alien Covenant involving David, that probably could have been its own film. And there probably then would have been Covenant, and then probably another one, and then probably would have been 4 in the sequences of events that as we look at them.
Right.
Maybe there wasn't enough, maybe there was enough, maybe the story didn't fly, but at the end of the day, I feel like Ridley Scott was maybe not necessarily forced. And Ridley, if you want to come and call me, you can tell me exactly how it went down.
Let us know, Ridley.
Ridley,
went
just
down?
call us, man. We'll talk about it. We'll chat. It's open
I'd
conversation.
like to pick his brain for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But here we are. We love, what we do, and we love telling the story that we tell. But we have to tell it within the framework of our investors. And in this situation, xenomorphs are a bigger box office pull. I mean, look at the marketing. The marketing had to do a lot
It's
with
huge.
the xenomorph and things of that nature.
But the thing is, they made a xenomorph from the end of Prometheus, though. They made one.
Nah.
There was one.
No, people still complain that wasn't truly a xenomorph
It's
and
not,
blah blah
though.
blah blah.
It wasn't truly, but it was like the beginning of the xenomorph.
But now if you look at the term xenomorph, you know what I mean? It's like morph, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's going to have different forms.
It is. It had,
Even in Alien 3, it had a
the
different form.
skull of a xenomorph.
Yeah.
It was like a human xenomorph. This is the thing, though. There was a xenomorph in the end of that film. It might not have been that final alien xenomorph, but there was
it's still a xeno. Because that's the thing about the xenomorphs. Like they're hybrids. They're all hybrids of something.
Exactly. And so that's the thing. Like they all depending on their host, they change their form and blah blah blah. And what I'm trying to say is that if that's the case, they could have easily went on with this film and kept it exactly the same, but not have added those swooping excuses of how they did what they did to the engineers.
Understood.
They didn't have to do that. I feel like that was something that they felt obligated to do. And you know what? I would have preferred the mystery of not having that. The mystery of not having that and not even seeing them as much over seeing what I saw, because I feel like it stole that away from me. I would have rather have kept it a mystery and then maybe showed me little bits and pieces of that in a better way, in a more intelligible way, than just, hey, this is what we did with just some big
and then they're all
nuke
gone.
or big thing. I just zapped them all off, and I'm just one guy in one ship and one thing that did this one thing to them. I'm like, yo, that's such a.
Laz had a great meme.
And it's the whole point. It's the whole point. Do all these engineers all live in one place in the whole world, in this one planet?
Oh well,
Doesn't make sense.
we don't know that. We don't know that
I'm
yet.
hoping that this is not the last that we see of the engineers. And
Major
this is
spoilers.
Just
Major
Yeah,
spoilers.
Exactly.
See, but I
Look, hold on.
Sorry guys, spoilers.
Hold on.
But I'm
Just hearing
hoping
what you guys said.
that we see a lot more of it.
It sounds like we do hear something about the engineers. So
We do hear something about them.
We'll see.
Me too.
But let's put it this way: the engineers, as we know,
that's what I
it,
want to know about.
right? Well, you're not
I'm
gonna find out what you want to know about the engineers, but I can say that the engineers are not a one-trick pony and are not a one-location species.
Yeah.
So let's keep that in mind.
Right.
Let's keep that in mind. And second,
the alien starts with an engineer ship.
exactly. So we know that we're going to see more of them in future episodes.
If there is, if there's more.
It may not be much of them, but we will see more of them. And so that story may still unfold. Hopefully, it's interesting because there wasn't a huge outcry for Prometheus, but now there's a huge outcry for they want more engineers. I'm sorry. If I was Ridley Scott, I'd be like, my audience don't fucking know
it-
what they want. I'd be like,
It was
what do you
afterwards.
want? You want engineers or don't you?
You're leading someone in different directions.
Yeah.
You're trying to show that you're leading someone, like you're warming them up in one way, and then you're like, oh, you're trying to chase. What he's trying to do is chase his tail, and you have to stick true to your vision. You have to stick true to your. You have to stay bold and true. And the thing is, I'm not saying he's not, because I think at the same time he could come back with the next film and do exactly what you're saying, showing engineers in a different way, in a different planet, and showing, hey, they're not all dead. But the thing is, people are so one-dimensional in the way we think about movies. We see all these things happen. I'm not gonna say it all what happens, but we see this calamity happen, and we think, oh, that's all of them. They're all dead. And the thing is, and like we know that's not the way the world is. But in Star Wars, even like in Star Wars, a whole planet is a desert. You know what I'm saying? And another planet is a jungle. In our planet, there's a jungle, there's a desert, there's a, you know what I'm saying?
Those are themes.
It's hard for us to separate.
Hell, in Star Wars, where they destroyed like 3 planets on the last one, and it's like
nothing,
what the fuck?
Nothing,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
All right, so
That's what I'm
okay,
trying to
so
say.
let me take that for a second, because let's say Ridley Scott had a great idea for the engineers and Prometheus, and if anyone has any comments out there, please let me know. Nadine was checking right now to see if you guys have anything to chime in before we move on. So Ridley Scott has a great idea for the engineers. Should he had then gone the route of Alien, which was an independent film, or George Lucas with Star Wars, which was an independent film by definition, technically, because there are several definitions for independent film. We're going to get into that next. Should he have gone the route of independent film and said, screw you guys, I got an idea for this Prometheus thing, I'm going to roll with it, and I'm going to go that route. I mean, and mind you, this is pure speculation. I got to say, this is pure speculation. I don't know what Ridley Scott was thinking. He hasn't called me yet. When he does, I'll let you know. But I'm just saying that from a standpoint of a fan, it seemed like we were promised one thing. Some fans were highly upset that they didn't get what they were promised. Some fans were very happy that they got into the alien backstory.
I think both.
So
cases,
there's two. That's why this movie is a little bit decisive, because divisive, I should say.
I think he knew his
I gotta say, for both cases, you know, for those fans who actually went to Prometheus thinking, man, I'm gonna learn. We're gonna see more aliens. I can't wait. It's aliens. But then you learn about the
Engineers.
The engineers.
Engineers. Architects is Matrix. Engineers is aliens.
So I keep saying I want to say architects, but
Ergo.
I mean, the minute I saw it, I just wanted to know more about them.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew about the aliens, you know, versus Predator, but then it's like, who are these guys? I mean, did it start with them, and what the hell? But then, now that we fell in love with the engineers, here comes this movie, like, we're going to find out about the engineers. Oh shit, we didn't really find out.
I think the problem.
Yeah, and that's why I think this should have been the last, you know, that the
Are you
in
ever
between
gonna put your
movie.
plushie down?
What?
I'm
No,
just
I
wondering,
can't put it down. I can't.
I think the problem is this though. I think that people think that the people didn't what people didn't like. I don't think anybody thinks that what people didn't like in Prometheus was the engineers. That's the thing. Everyone loved the engineers. There's other elements of Prometheus that people didn't like.
It was slow.
It
Yeah, it
wasn't.
was
No,
slow.
not even the slow parts.
It was
For me,
beautiful. To me, it shot beautiful.
It wasn't even the slow parts for me. It was other parts that I thought that like they added other horror elements that just didn't fit, or that were at that point in time very cliche.
Okay.
And I think there's other story elements that just didn't go anywhere, and they were just like thrown in there just to throw in action.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they didn't serve the story in a very meaningful way. And then they throw in the xenomorph, right? That's fine. And everyone, no one, I don't think anybody walked out of that and was like, you know what? I really didn't like the engineers. I think they were lame. They were fun. They were the cool part. There's other parts in the story of Prometheus that people were like, yo, like, dude, why even use that?
Well, we will get into a Prometheus debate completely later. But let me ask you this:
Well,
should Ridley Scott had gone the indie route and just done his own film?
I'm going to tell you, I think he did exactly what he wanted to do. I think he was trying to set up a movie, set up an alien film. I think Prometheus was that, and I think that he was probably looking to do. I don't think he was ever trying to make a engineer film. And I think this is the thing that people don't understand. He was never trying to make a Prometheus 2. The movie was never supposed to be about the engineers. And though people like engineers, it was never supposed to be about the engineers. Now, I do think his storyline was supposed to be a little bit more about engineers than was Alien.
Right.
But I think that and I think there's probably another movie that was supposed to be in between this movie, but I don't think that he could have got the money for that because of what Prometheus did. People needed it, his box office needed to see something that said Alien, because Alien was going to sell Alien merchandise, the franchise, and I think that's what he needed. And I think at the same time, that's how he was chasing his tail, because he started a franchise of people liking the engineers, and he would have probably done okay, even better than Prometheus, with the engineers and a little bit more Alien. But the thing is, the studio box office and the studio figureheads were probably like, no, we need Alien in the title, because that is what sells. That is a franchise. That's what people know and love. And Prometheus was a cool little stepping stone. It was a cool little test, but we need to see Alien in it, because people need to know this franchise. And I think that he knew that more than anybody else, looking after everything. And he's like, I'm getting older, and I need to make money. He did the same thing with Gods of whatever. He casted like half the movie as like white dudes in
Gods of Egypt.
Gods of Egypt. And his whole argument for that movie was, no one's going to see a black blah 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 as Pharaoh.
Racist.
They need to see not because of black, but it was because
not
racism. Is because box office.
It's box office. It's box office, and we understand that. So
That's the thing.
let's talk about box office. Let's talk about the next subject real quick.
No, before we go to the next, I just want to bring up something that I think might be kind of cool, because while we were talking, I was like, dude, who do you think would win? Aliens or the freaking aliens from Pitch Black? If it was all out.
Oh, Alien.
Xenomorph all day.
You sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, these guys outnumber the shit out of fucking aliens.
Really? Have you seen what happened when an aliens got out of? I hate to bring up Alien versus Predator, but have you seen what happens?
You can. Yeah, I have seen. And are you gonna see what happens?
I'm sorry. For every pitch black alien that eats an alien, acid and death happens to that pitch black alien. Done.
It wouldn't be
You
a fair
don't
fight.
know that for a fact.
Yes,
Wait,
we
wait,
do.
know that?
It wouldn't even be a fair fight.
Sunlight and a little flashlight burns them. Oh,
No way, dude.
listen,
That's
I
how
love
they're
Vin
like
Diesel. I love
roaches.
Pitch Black. I love.
They're like
No,
roaches.
they ended up eating themselves. Okay, the
That's
aliens.
how hungry they were, dude.
But the other
They're
aliens.
alien
But
beasts,
the,
and
look, a
they have
xenomorph.
wings. And they have wings.
A xenomorph
Yeah,
would
but a
sit
xenomorph
back.
can like go through everything.
First of all, Facehugger would jump on those aliens, and then other aliens would come out.
Oh
and
my
then
God,
they'd
they'd
have
be
wings
super
too.
powerful.
Yeah, and they'd be
So-
like a flying baby xenomorph with
Dude.
like that.
All right, so I'll
Dude.
say one thing about
No.
your little Predator
No.
versus Alien. FYI, there's another Predator versus Alien being made right now.
No.
What?
Yes.
No, stop.
Yes, no,
Don't
and
do
this
it.
time it's the Predators versus the aliens, not the crappy ass xenomorphs. I can't wait. There's no reason why. That's like Klingons versus
I'm sorry.
humans.
I can't talk to
They
you
didn't make
right now.
another
I
Predator.
want
though.
to see that. Oh my
They are
God.
making another Predator.
No, just Predator standalone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's good. Cause I tell you right now, growing up, Predator was dope, and I love
Yeah.
Predator. That's like a heartfelt.
Dude.
Like I loved it. It doesn't hold up as good as Alien does. Not even close. Not even like it's like years
French.
apart.
But we
it's
don't know
still
anything
dope.
about the Predators. All we knew is Arnold Schwarzenegger's gonna kill
They're
them.
cool aliens.
That's all you knew.
Look.
Practical effects for days.
All right, so here's the thing.
Practical effects. That makeup on Predator in the Predator 1 movie is dope.
Okay, besides practical effects, one thing we do not know that much about the fucking predators is that they are a hunter species that looks for game. Now, going back to the last,
Look at Predators. I talked all about that. It's like
they had the
it's
head
like the
of an
most-
alien sitting there.
You talking about
Head-
Predator 2?
Yes, the head. I mean, come on, dude.
That
We
That
know
spawned off
nothing about them.
that spawned off a whole comic book series based on
Yes,
that, which
yeah.
then
Okay,
yes, we
But
understand.
we know nothing about them. 7'11", 495 pound, like killing machine. They live to be. Now
Look,
they said
dude,
this
they're-
next one's gonna be a beast. It'll be a little bit fairer on the
I
back.
want to see a Predator family and like a Predator like.
I want to be a predator when I grow up.
Predator
Look, he's gonna be like
Hey, Predator,
he's gonna smack his predator kid and be like,
getting a little xenomorph baby, like, hey.
how many xenomorphs did you kill, son?
Yeah,
In
and
school.
like, here comes the xenomorph. Bam! Laser's face is dead.
Oh my gosh! Stop it! Stop!
You know what? I'm Team Predator.
Predators
all
is
the
See,
way.
I think
you know
I-
what? I want
I
to
think
visit this
Predators would be
conversation when it
more
comes
like
out,
orcs.
and you will see
Oh
what
my
it said.
God. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
I'm
am
sorry.
so
Hold on.
sorry. That
There
is
was
not-
one predator that was fighting all those little cockroaches all over the place. Imagine an army
That's
of
why I
predators.
don't. That's why I
Yeah.
don't like Alien vs Predator.
That's why I don't like it. They threw him. Oh, can I say one thing? Let me say one thing. Let me say one
Oh
thing.
my
by
gosh.
Hold on.
themselves.
I have to
Really?
say one thing.
All right, let's hear this. Let's,
I have to say one thing. Hold on.
Let's hear this.
So you guys like, oh, aliens, predator. Okay, guys, FYI, the reason why the predator teenagers were put in there, where that's how you graduate to manhood. Think about that for 5 seconds,
Yeah.
dude.
I get it.
A
Yeah, okay,
teenager
cool.
was put into a temple.
So
to
you're saying
fight
that Predator
an
versus Alien was a good film?
No.
Okay, thank you. Just, next topic. Anyways,
Yeah.
next topic. Moving on. So the question is that both the Aliens franchise, and the Star Wars franchise technically started off as independent films, but we can't really imagine that as an independent film. So I want to ask the question, what? Yeah, well, because
Wow.
there are different definitions for an independent film. One of the definitions for an independent film is a film that is created outside of the studio system.
But here's
What's
the thing.
that mean?
I think people are.
Well, hold on. Hold on. Let me give me a second. Give me a second. Let me define the studio system. There are basically 5 major studios, and we all know them. You have Warner Brothers, Paramount, Fox,
Columbia,
MGM.
Sony.
No, Sony wasn't considered one of the.
Oh, back
They are huge. Yeah, they are
Yeah,
huge. But
Sony is
Sony is
the
now
one.
one of the top. I think it's now 7 major studios now.
MGM.
But basically outside of the major studio system. So A24 is not a major studio system, and
Right.
so on and so forth. So, so when you're thinking about an independent film, by definition, it's technically a film done outside of the major studio system. That doesn't mean that it's not made by a studio. That does not mean that it's not a director's vision or whatever the case is. By definition, it doesn't even mention budget. Now there are a lot of different things when people think about independent films. They're thinking about
think of like your mom, like your
mom and pop
who's
film or whatever.
$20,000, and it's a 15-minute to 35-minute movie.
I
That's
think
independent.
Robert Rodriguez, one of my idols. Robert Rodriguez and the first El Mariachi was $7,000. Independent film.
That's
So
100% independent film, and so is, I'm pretty sure most of his movies are independent films.
well, no. He's gone studio, but so
like Lava Girl and
yeah, but you know.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Or,
Yeah, so he's gone studio. I mean, let's give him that. I mean, but that's okay. Going studio is not a bad thing. It's like getting, as an artist, a musician, is like getting signed by a record label. That's not a bad
I
thing.
think
Some
people just think
amazing
that
movies made by
that-
studios.
They think that indie films are made by.
We wouldn't
cheap-
have Harry Potter and all of them without that. So
Yeah, Potter, yeah.
So, Conrad, I'm gonna ask you because here you're about to do an independent film.
Say
So, talk to me. What do you define an independent film as?
You know, I think I take a lot of credence by the original definition. I think if it's made by any of the big, I mean, outside the ones that are known, like the 5, and even you're gonna go to like the 7, like Sony, and I think if you're talking about any of the major studios, I probably say I would consider it an independent film. A good rebuttal to that I know will be like something like Red Tails, like George Lucas. George Lucas spent a lot of his own money to make Red Tails, and it was
Okay.
a big risk because no other studio was gonna like fund the movie. And I think I still consider a movie like that independent because of the risk that's involved. And it's not just a studio; it's literally his own money. And I know that he has Lucasfilms, but Lucasfilms is like a different subsidiary to what he was actually doing. He actually put up his own money.
But you're
not
saying that
Lucasfilms.
Lucasfilms, who could also put out, who's also at the front of Star Wars, is not
Sure,
considered a
but
studio?
But Lucasfilms isn't like
A powerhouse.
letting out like movies.
I'm sorry.
No,
Lucasfilms is not a powerhouse.
Now it is.
I wish somebody would say that.
Disney. That's all I'll say.
But
Disney.
Lucasfilms isn't known for like releasing like mad movies. It's
Oh
not,
no,
it's-
not
it's-
mad
it's
movies,
Star
just
Wars.
Star Wars
Yeah,
and you
it's-
know
exactly,
franchise.
exactly.
Indiana
Exactly.
Jones
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
okay.
So it's not. But the thing is, that's a distribution way of doing it. But like, it is not. It's not like MGM. It's not like Warner Brothers. It's not
Universal.
known to
Paramount, yeah, okay.
Universal. It's not just like releasing like it doesn't have a slate every year, or didn't at least, of just having movies. Now it doesn't even release anything at all. It's all done through Disney. So it's totally different, and it's hard to think of it that way because Lucasfilms is Lucasfilms, but it's more production on that aspect. It's not distribution, and it's not also so like it's a totally different kind of way of thinking, and it's the amount of risk that's taken. So I actually think of it like that. If one person essentially is putting up a lot of money into a movie, or if a lot of people are putting into a small movie that's a lot smaller, then I consider that indie as well. You know what I mean? Like Donnie Darko is a good example of a really cool, indie film. Or I don't know. There's a million of them. There's so many, movies that are indie films. But yeah, I think just because a movie's big budget a couple $1 million doesn't mean it's not an indie film.
Well, I
guess
could,
it's what I'm trying to get to.
I could tell you, Red Tails is definitely more than a couple million, especially with all the CG that happened in that. Zaid,
It made
what
no
do you
mon- it made
consider?
no- it made no money.
Well, you know what? Hey, there's a lot of major studio films that don't make money either. Doesn't make an independent by default. Zaid, what do you think constitutes an independent film? And more importantly, where would you disqualify a film if someone said it's indie but you don't think it is?
It's tough because when you think indie, you think like Rebel, like they did it by themselves, no one helped it, like the Sundance film. I got guys that I talked to just recently about just to see what the industry guys. What do you guys think about it? What's the indie film? And they argued against me. $30 million. That's a lot of money because I had $30 million. I had the best movie ever. Like, well, that's what they're really considering. Like, at $30 million and below. But like Conrad was saying, I think if you're not a indie means it's like if you go to music, indie labels if you don't have a powerhouse like a Warner Brothers, like a Sony, like a Columbia, like a Capitol Records, Sony off. But I'm just saying, if you're doing it independently, without the powerhouses, I'm not sure. I don't know why Grandma's Boy came to my head. Because I know it's Adam Sandler, but I'm not sure if he has. But he has his own filming company. That wasn't a powerhouse. I mean, it just became a fan favorite film.
Mhm.
I kind of consider that like an indie film because it wasn't like it was pushed by a big company. It just became a fan favorite.
Yeah, it was bought. I think later on it was produced by Adam Sandler's company, and then it was sold, and then sold by like a bigger company. But that's what happens to a lot of indie films. They get taken to market and then hoard out, and then they get bought by like Sony or whatever else.
So here's my
Xenomorph,
question: do you
just
guys
like-
consider a Sundance film winner? Like, is that an indie film? I mean, the films are sometimes
I
short.
mean, there's some
They're not
Sundance films that have some decent budgets and have some decent talent in it.
Yes,
So it's one of those situations where it's by, like, again, the newcomer indie filmmaker, or the newcomer filmmaker. I'm not going to say indie yet. I'm going to say the newcomer filmmaker may consider a Sundance film, practically a studio, because if you're in Sundance or if you get distribution by Sundance,
I gotta say, dude, you gotta give some love to the guy who said, or the company, or like a group of guys who said, you know what, guys, we're gonna get the funding for this film. We're gonna bust our asses and make something, a creative display to show, a trailer to show them our artwork, to get the funding for a movie. I mean, that means you independently did it yourself. So I have to go back to what Conrad said. As long as it's not one of the big companies, it has to be independent.
Look at A24. Like
Okay.
A24.
okay.
Brad Pitt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brad Pitt. So how many Academy Awards has A24 been raking in lately?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So they have big name actors. Their movies are sub 10 mil. Some of them. No, I'm not saying Moonlight's not. Moonlight was, but I don't know if they even, I don't know how they acquired Moonlight. I don't know if they did it beforehand or they funded it or whatever. I know that the other film that they won before that with that Brad Pitt made a cameo in was about slavery. 40 Years a Slave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That movie had some big name actors in it. Had a decent budget. About 10 mil. And I mean, is that considered?
So you take Moonlight and 40 Years a Slave and you put them in the same category as La La Land?
Well, I mean, look at Whiplash.
Okay.
Look at Whiplash. Whiplash was a precursor to La La Land. That dude made Whiplash, and then what did he do? He made Whiplash the proof of concept. Made Whiplash for like nothing. And then almost won an Academy Award. He got nominated for Best Film. Dude won Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor in that for that category for that film. Dude should have won. I mean, I think that movie should have won Best Film. I love that movie Whiplash. And then came back and made one of the best films of the year, arguably the best film of the year. And do I think that's a studio film? Do I think that's an indie? Do I think it's an indie film? No, I don't think La La Land's an indie film. But
Nadine,
that was made by a big company.
Nadine, do we have any comments or questions? Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
What is a suggested format for an indie film with a low budget to produce a movie?
Suggested format. The question is, I'm sorry, what is a suggested format?
The suggested format for an indie film with a low budget.
Can I answer that?
Sure, go ahead.
Robert Rodriguez. $7,000. He did Merachi.
Well, when they say format, are they saying like
Genre? You talking about genre
or if you're who is the question by?
Uh,
I think they're just talking about like,
your mom.
Gotcha. So Inez Alpazar is asking the suggested format. Format there are different terms for format. So if you're talking about a format for a film, you could talk about how you're distributing the film. So if you're saying, hey, listen, are you going to give it on H.264 and put it on YouTube, or are you going to put it in Crazy Lake? What we just put that in? The format for distribution.
Format distributions is 235.
235?
Well, it depends what we're talking about. 235, and it's also 16 by 9. So there's 4K. There's a 4K version. There's a 1080p version.
Right. So there are different versions, but ultimately, you can distribute an independent film at about. You could put it on 1080p, even in 720p. Put it on Vimeo or
It's about
YouTube.
genre, maybe.
Yeah. So it depends on the distribution. Really, it depends if you're going to distribute. If you're going to distribute an independent film, the format that you're going to probably use is probably going to be a 16 by 9 aspect ratio to some extent, and it's going to be, depending on your network, whether it's YouTube, Vimeo, or whatever, it's going to probably be 1080p, H.264 for starters, and then it goes up from there. And your distributor will let you know what formats they would ultimately need.
Do you think the format? I don't think she meant technical. Like that's like too B2B. Like that's something we would know.
Well,
Technical,
we
like,
have a lot of independent filmmakers out there.
I
So
got you. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think she meant that. I think she meant like exactly like
The genre.
yeah, not genre. Like I think she meant like
distribution.
How you go about like what's the difference? What's the format? Like what are they gonna do as far as like? I mean, she can clarify also, Inez. But
Right.
I don't think she meant technically like exactly what the specs are.
No, she's talking about budget. She's also talking about budget.
Yeah.
So like, what's
that's what I'm trying to say.
an independent? I'd say right now, if you're gonna make an independent film right now, and you're someone in our spectrum, you want to try to make the best looking movie for as cheap as possible. Now, if you're gonna, and I know that's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. The cheaper you can make a movie that's actually good, it's entertaining, you're assuming the least risk for your distributor. So if I make a movie for, let's say, $50,000, and I can go in as a distributor, I know that even if the movie looks like it's made for $500,000, I have a lot of equity in that film because that movie and it's entertaining, it's written well. Now this is catching lightning in a bottle to some extent, maybe, but you want to make a film that covers your bases as much as you can. It's made for cheap. And that's why a lot of people you see nowadays like to use one location, only a few actors. From once in a while, they use a couple name actors. So let's say that they use, one or two B actors. They use one location for the most part in the film. They have a pretty easy storyline that's easy to shoot. Not too many crazy special effects. Not too many crazy stuff. It's like that's why horror is such an easy genre. A good person that does this is Blumhouse.
Yeah.
Blumhouse does this a lot. They think about Blumhouse films. They use one location to shoot a lot of their horror films, and they use not that many known actors, maybe one or two, and then they bring everybody in. And they also use sometimes sequels. So you're spending $100,000 up to maybe $1 million, $2 million, and you're making it look like maybe a $5 million movie, and then you're selling it, and you know you can get that money back.
You know,
So
I like the term that
equity.
you said because you see, in my opinion, independent film really comes down to equity, sweat equity, fiscal equity.
Right.
See, I don't go by the studio format. I don't like to go by the studio format because a good song can be picked up by a major label. A great film can be picked up by a major label. So when you start saying that it's distributed by Warner Brothers, well, that doesn't mean that it was produced by Warner Brothers.
Right.
So that's why I don't like the major studio, I guess, limitations on an independent film. You really got to look at the equity that was put into the film. Blair Witch, you know what I mean? It made millions,
I think
and look at it became a franchise. Star Wars became a franchise. Alien became a franchise. There are a lot of films that, yes, technically almost anything from Blumhouse has had a sequel to it. You know what ends up happening is that if you have a good idea, and I agree with you, if you have a good idea and you shoot your film and you do a really good job at shooting it, you have great story, great characters, great development, you do the best you can for the lowest budget that you can. And what ends up happening is that people take notice, it gets picked up, and yes, it can get distributed. Yes, you can do it for your own money and then get distributed. For some reason, some guy at Warner sees it at Sundance or whatever, some local film festival, and they're like, that was a really good film. I really liked the hell out of that.
Girl with the dragon tattoo.
Girl with the dragon tattoo.
I wanted to not cut you off, but I think a good.
But you did.
I'm going to cut you off before I forget it, because I've been holding on since he was talking. I think a good example of it, and I think we all agree, is you can make you don't have to have $1 bazillion. If you have a great story, great actors, you don't have to have explosions. You don't have to have aliens. I think, and just coming to the top of my mind, Friday was just a great chemistry.
Independent film too, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
Great chemistry. It was written well. The actors did phenomenal, and it was just sitting on the porch the majority of the time.
Neighborhood.
To me, that's a great. If that you don't think about it, you don't really need that. It wasn't special effects.
No.
It was just a great story with great actors, man.
So we all recently just watched this film, Skin.
Skin.
Skin. So if you haven't seen the movie Skin, go check it out on Vimeo. It's actually a really, really, really beautifully shot short.
Interesting film.
Very interesting film.
Very beautifully shot.
And I would love to see your opinions about this, because this is an independent film. So let's use an example. The film Skin. First of all, I don't know their budget. We don't know their budget. And Nadine, can you on the side over there pull up the director of Skin? I want to give him credit because I want to make sure that we pull that up.
And we'll put some show notes on the bottom so you guys can link to this movie. It's a little short film on Vimeo. I want to say little and demean it, but it's a short film on Vimeo.
What are you looking at?
We're trying to show out some different films.
Skin.
Every show. So we don't want everything we talk about to be about some big blockbuster like Alien Covenant.
Yo, careful when you Google Skin.
I saw another
That's
booty.
okay. We're gonna put it in the notes so you guys
There's
can
nothing
get
but
the
booty
link.
We're gonna make sure we put the link on there because if you
It's on
Google
Vimeo.
Skin, you're probably
Yeah.
gonna end up with something that. Don't do this at work.
Director Jordana Spiro.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
director
say that again, say it one more
Jordana. It's a female director. It sounds like, and Jordana Spiro.
That's it from where?
Jordana Spiro.
Yeah.
Nice.
And she won the Sundance Film 2013, correct?
I believe so. Yeah,
Right.
I know
So
it's
I
got.
have a couple questions. about
This
that.
film has a lot of accolades, a lot of winning, won a lot of awards, and a lot of accolades from Sundance and a lot of different things. Now that being said,
They're
understand
definitely females.
Yes.
definitely understand that this is an art house film. It's a little bit different. It's not like your normal film that you watch every day, especially if you're used to watching superhero films and stuff like that. It's a little bit different, a little bit of a different pace, and so yeah. That being said, what do you guys think about it?
No. We'll start with Nadine because now she looked up Jordana. Tell me what you thought about Skin, Nadine.
I thought it was really interesting. I definitely like the focus on the boy. It was a little sad because I kind of like felt for the little boy. I was like, oh, I understand how you feel. It's like such an interesting thing, and it's especially taking that type of subject matter is that type of thing that turns a lot of people off. So it's definitely interesting seeing it, especially from a child's point of view, where it's like they think, oh, this is innocent, there's nothing wrong with it. Especially like through the eyes of a child, there's a lot of things that, you grow up to shy away from. But as a child, it's like there's nothing wrong with it. So it was a very, very interesting point of view, and like how it was shot. I really, really liked it. And especially because there was very limited dialogue. It was all about like what you're seeing, their expressions, and just the mood of the whole film, just how it was shot.
Was she the
Go ahead, Zaid.
director or the DP?
She was the director.
She
Director.
directed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can find out who the DP was, but
No, I'm sure she told him what to shoot, and she in the end she was.
cinematographer is who's that?
Hoti Viveros Lavielle.
Yeah, no, that's way too
Yeah.
far, and I have way too many drinks to know what the hell that says.
Sounds French.
Say it again.
Hati
Try it.
Viveros La Vie.
La vie.
Okay, Hati,
French or
we
Spanish?
totally probably butchered your name. I totally
I'm
apologize.
sorry.
Sounds French.
But mad
It might
cred to
be.
the whole cinematography and how that looked. So, Zaid, tell me what you thought about the film. Uh-oh.
First opinion, when you first watched it, what do you feel?
Beautiful. Shot fantastically.
And
If I were going to hire her to shoot my film and to get a look, I love it.
Story.
Story was okay. I'm still questioning why it won a Sundance film, aside from it looking beautifully. All right, the kid fucking does, and I'm not the only one. I actually watched with like 5 other people that I work with, and I work with like other producers, writers, and directors, and we're like, it won a Sundance, and we all curious why. Like, how, and so then I want to know. Again, I'm not a Sundance follower. I'm speaking as a fan. I love to shoot. You guys probably like, this guy's a piece of shit. He didn't know anything to talk about. If you love Sundance film. But we all said, as story writers, we love stories. I love stories. I'm a fan of like, dude, that was a badass story. And I know you like Friday. No, I am a nerd. I love Stargate 1. Great story. I'm a big fan of like originality. And to me, it's like, all right, that's nothing interesting. I could probably shoot the same thing about a ghetto story. It was shot phenomenally though. It was, I thought it was gorgeous. The saturation, the time that she'd take on some of the shots. That's why I was curious.
So what did you? So you didn't connect with any of the characters?
I mean, I connected with the little kid. But damn, the dog at the ferry on the porch. Come on. I'm like, come on.
Oh, man.
All right.
I'm baffled by how I need to know why and how it won a Sundance. I need to know why.
Okay.
I think it was because it was it's such a controversial subject. I think that's why it
I
won.
cannot
I
do that.
honestly think
I'm
it
sorry,
was
that's
that.
the case that I say that's wrong because I go in there and do racism. I'll do like sexism. I'll do like crazy stuff.
Yeah, I
like,
don't
well,
think it's
that's-
because of controversy. I don't think it's
All right. So what do you think? Why would you, if you were a Sundance judge,
All right.
why would you give it merit?
and excuse me, I don't know much. I'm still young in the game. as
Hey,
far as
it's
that.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
This is an
I would
opinion
say,
show.
comrade,
When we give you guys facts,
it's my opinion.
we will tell you facts, and we will give you facts. We promise to give you facts. We give you notes on how to get into the industry. We're not going to ever claim that, hey, you know what? We will win awards. We have some award-winning stuff that's in the making. But I'll let you know right now that the process is understanding independent filmmaking. So, Conrad, from your perspective,
You've been in the game longer than most of us. as far as-
tell us,
Not really.
tell us exactly why you, as a judge, may have even given this consideration.
You know what? I think what I really liked about this film, and I really did like it. Aside from the cinematography, and I think the cinematography was really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's really cool about it to me is like it puts you in the shoes of somebody that you would. It's this kid is a misfit. This kid is not rich. He's not he's not loved. He's dirty. He's different. He's not the norm, and it's a love story, and he's trying to tell somebody and express to somebody how much he loves them. And he sees this person in love. And so you get to experience him trying. It's almost like classic like Cain and Abel. When Cain was trying to show God how much he loved him, but he didn't know how to do it the right way. And what he did was the wrong way. God asked Abel or Cain and all of them to sacrifice blood, and he sacrificed his fruit because that's what he made. He made fruit. He was a fruit maker. If you guys know the story. This kid was different,
He
his
killed
kid.
his brother.
Yeah, but I understand that, but like he brought fruit and he coveted his brother because his brother brought flesh,
A lamb.
and he didn't bring that because he thought this is the best day he made. The thing is, this kid in his ignorance didn't know what he was doing when he brought that dog to the door. He thought he was gonna bring her a source of happiness, a source of something that she felt happy, but he didn't realize what that would be because it wasn't the same as what she had before. It was almost like the uncanny valley.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
and so
See,
like it
I don't know
to
about
some
that.
extent. So there's a deeper meaning, and it's also showing that like sometimes your best efforts, the road like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and he tried his best. He was doing his best, but he just didn't get it. And I think that it's such a deeper story, and it's so much more of a human emotion that I really connected with it, and that's why I.
Well,
thought
you
it
know
was
what?
really cool.
Hold on. Wait. Before you get in, because I know what you want to jump in on. I have to kind of sort of agree yet disagree with Conrad on a couple of things. One, I don't think it was a love story. I don't. I think it was. I think it was. Well, no, I don't. I don't think that. I think it was a story about connection. I don't think it was love. I do think it was.
Sure.
I think it was. I really do think it was a story about one human reaching out to another human. One person who felt lonely. One person who felt pain. Both of them were in a moment of distraught, who then reached out and connect to each other. We forget the third party in this situation because I almost feel, and when you see the film, you will understand. And I'm not going to give a spoiler. I almost feel and this happens in real life. We have two people who could probably get on the same level, but then you have that third person who's like, "Ugh, what the hell?" The hater. You have the hater.
That one.
You have that one
hates
hater who's like, and then unfortunately, because
Sicko.
that situation wasn't allowed to develop, you end up going with the norm. And I think what ends up happening in this situation is that we see, you're right, the misfit reaches out the best way he can.
Yeah.
And makes a connection and does what he seems to be appropriate to try to bring back joy. It's a sharing moment. I don't think it's
I
as
call
much
that love.
love.
I call that love.
I
know you're trying to be whatever.
You're like love. It's that kind of love, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly,
it's that kind of love. It's
exactly.
not like I love you, amore.
Yes,
But you know, okay, cool,
It's
okay.
love. It's a story of love. That's what I'm.
It is. Yeah, okay, all right, cool. You got it, because it.
I don't mean it's like Romeo and Juliet love.
It is not Romeo and Juliet love at all. Because if I brought that home
Serial
to my
killer in the making.
if I brought that home to my girl, she'd be like, "What the
Serial
fuck?"
killer.
That
Serial
would be
killer
such
in
a
the
kind
making.
thing.
Stop. He was attacking squirrels with rocks.
Hey, well, okay,
Anyways, so I do want to say
squirrels.
this. I'm going back to one thing. What makes honestly, I used to be like, dude, Sundance Film, that's like the AAA. Once you land that AAA, you can get a major. And I'm like, how did they win? How did he win? Because I can flip that story 100 different ways, man. I can go to the ghetto with it. I can go to Rio de Janeiro and do the same thing. I'm just curious. I would love to know.
It's humanity, man. It's humanity.
I can
It
give
is
humanity
very- it is-
different stories,
Yeah,
but
but-
that one didn't do
well-
it to me like that. Dude.
well, you know what?
Connect with it. But the thing is, I think it's the fact that you're showing something that's not as obvious, not as apparent, something that is so maybe even in front of your eyes that it's finding beauty in the mundane. Can you find beauty in the mundane? I think that's the hardest
Are you
challenge.
saying because he's a kid from the taxidermy? Is that why?
No, just because you're finding
Well,
small
there's a
little
lot more
moment.
to it. I mean,
Small
I know there's a
little
lot more
moment.
to it. First of all, again, I saw
it's a nuanced film. We're not saying, by the way, there's no comic book hero in this film at all. So if you're,
I love stories.
we went from Star Wars, Alien
I'm-
Covenant to Skin, and trust me, there's a huge gap.
There's a big I'm a big fan of love stories.
As
dude.
there should be. There
And-
should be a good. Everybody who watches this film, and I hope you guys. And this is me being in my soapbox, and I do it probably once every time. It's like
No.
if you do watch,
I want to put a graphic that says Conrad's soapbox.
once every once in a while, try watching a movie that you think you won't like, or you think that it's different outside your box. Try something different. I promise you'll be surprised. And even if you don't like it, maybe a couple of days afterward, because what happens sometimes you'll watch these movies. But what happens to the best movies is that you think you didn't like it, but you can't stop thinking about it. And you take it home with you, and you can't stop thinking about it. And you think about it when you're at home, and you're wrestling with it. And usually it's those type of movies that expand your taste buds. It's like, you ever heard that term of like, it's an acquired taste? Film is an acquired taste. It really is. You have to watch it. You have to express yourself.
Indie film is
change
definitely
yourself.
an acquired
And you have to
taste.
move yourself
It
out,
is.
stretch yourself out. I promise you guys.
I got you. But I'm still trying to understand, dude. I know everything you're saying, dude. But it did not. I got it. The guy was. I don't want without ruining it. It's a good little film. It's beautifully shot. I want to say that one thing. It's beautifully shot. The actors are phenomenal.
The actors were really good, actually.
Very good.
kids
The
were
little
really
kid
good.
casting
That
was,
little kid was-
phenomenal, dude.
Yeah.
Better than the thinning.
Oh man, let's not go there.
I
I
can't-
thought we were gonna talk about the thing too.
Hey, I thought we were.
we were supposed to talk about
We're like almost an hour over.
Yeah.
But I do want to say this one thing. You watch it, comrade. But again, I watch things I'm never biased, dude. I watch something, but I always tell my real feelings. 'Cause I could tell that story 100 different
There's
times.
no wrong answers, man.
There isn't.
Everyone has different tastes.
You'll look
Like,
at a painting and say the same
Well,
thing. I don't see.
some people
anything.
like vanilla, some people like chocolate,
Yep.
some people like Rocky Road.
Agreed.
I mean, like that's the thing, and that's the thing about don't let anybody ever tell you that you're wrong about whatever you like and whatever turns you on. Like that's the thing. I can get on my high horse about someone not liking chocolate and be like, "Yo, I love chocolate." You're
Yo,
stupid.
going back to
Like,
film,
Nadine will
we were
attack
talking-
you if you say
we were
something
talking about
bad
critics.
chocolate.
Well,
we were talking about critics. To not see a movie.
I'm okay with people
Don't-
who don't
don't-
like chocolate because I don't like cheese, and then people get on my case. I'm like, if you
Guys,
don't like
we were-
chocolate, you
we were
can
I'll
get
make
it.
fun of you, but like, just understand that I'm wrong because like everyone's allowed to have their own taste.
We were talking about earlier about this, that don't not watch a movie because the critic says it's bad.
Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that brings it back to
That's-
Alien Covenant. In that case, watch it because it's a great,
Even
it's
the
a good movie.
Skin, you may
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it. You may
I
connect
never
with
really
it.
heard your take on Alien Covenant, really.
Oh no, I told you about Ridley Scott and the whole. He had a plan.
That was the thing, but did you like the film? No, you liked the film.
Yeah, I like the film. Especially, I liked it as an Alien film.
You had fun with the film.
I had fun with the film.
Why do you think Skin won?
I think Skin won because it was a great story between a moment shared between two
It
people.
was 10 minutes, correct? 10
Yeah,
minutes.
it was a moment. It
31
was an
seconds.
emotion shared between two people that was genuine. Someone reached out to another person
It was
in
actually
pain.
12, 13, let's see.
So someone reached out to another person
so-
in pain, and I felt that moment. I
So-
felt what the protagonist was trying to do. I felt that the two characters had chemistry. I felt that they connected. I felt it was shot beautifully. I thought the story it had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
You're right.
Let's-
you're right.
let's face it.
I take it back. You're right. In the overall scheme, you're right. It's 100%. We all said it. Casted correctly, acted correctly, directed perfectly, shot
Yeah.
awesomely.
And the
If a-
story had a
the
contained
was
story.
good.
Boom.
It did have an original thing. You know,
Yeah.
you didn't see the freaking Texas or anything, but
Yeah.
so yes. Now now we're saying that. I kind of understand
And the
why.
thing is, like,
I'm glad we
you
can convert you to the dark side.
You're talking about you're talking about the hood, and you're talking about like
You can flip
things.
it.
The thing is, like, it's so easy to think, and this is the thing too. I think a lot of times when judges watch something, it's so easy to become emotionally manipulative by showing someone in the hood or having a hard time or like whatever. It's so easy to go to those easy places.
I mean, it's a redneck white boy in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's,
But sure, but that's so much less obvious sometimes than just a black boy in the hood. Because we've seen the black boy in the hood a million times. And
But-
a white redneck kid in the middle of taxidermy suburbia. who's
taxidermy is the only curveball, but then his
But that's
father.
the main curveball. And then
No,
when
no,
he's...
no, there's a lot of curveballs.
But
There's
sure,
a lot of nuance in
But
the
sure,
film.
There are.
the way that the thing that he's pursuing and the way he pursues it is so weird.
Great little actor.
And he does such a good job.
did a good job.
What I'm trying to
He
say is
did.
like,
I'm kind of taking it back now. I see
getting
that
to
the
that
bigger
point.
picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Getting to that point where
it-
you're not
it-
so obvious and you're not trying to emotionally manipulate somebody. Because at the end of the day, we feel he's kind of creepy too.
Yeah,
and,
everyone thought he was
and we
creepy.
do. We see the creepiness from her point of
He's
view, but we feel bad for him. 'cause
Oh,
we know-
except for Nadine, who wants a xenomorph for a pet. She thought he was cute the whole time.
I mean, I understand where he was coming from.
And you see where they're coming from too. Like if you,
Yeah,
if you-
I understood. Like, I felt personally, I was like, oh man, I know how you feel. Like, you know, because like always like
So-
being with the reptiles and stuff, people
All right,
have
so
always
listen,
been like
we're
shying
running out
away.
of time, so I want to just go ahead and just come to this quick conclusion. So if you haven't seen Skin, please watch Skin. If
Vimeo
you haven't
free.
seen Alien Covenant and you're into a great sci-fi, go watch Alien Covenant. If you're celebrating Star Wars, go celebrate Star Wars. It is 40 years of Star Wars.
Awesome.
Independent filmmakers. We do have some things that are coming up here on the Rap Party, but if you go to our YouTube channel, which is Indie Raps, we're going to have some content being produced there. Some of our own produced content. We have some independent filmmakers that are going to be placing things on Indie Raps. So start looking towards our YouTube channel. That is Indie Raps on YouTube. Please go there to go check that out. We will have some short films, some independent films, some web series, horrors, sci-fis. It's gonna start to get very, very interesting.
Comrades,
So
got a clown
please
thing
start
going on, right?
subscribing now on YouTube. For all of our YouTube subscribers who already joined us, thank you for joining us. We look forward to actually having more shows. We're going to see you guys again next Thursday. But before we wrap up completely, Zaid, tell them a little bit about what you have coming up and what they can look forward to.
I can't talk too much about it because it's a secret. If I tell you, then it won't be a secret anymore. But shout outs to my boy Noel Torres. We're actually doing a short called Coexist. It's a sci-fi thriller. I won't say anything else.
Was that the secret, or was that? I'm trying
Well,
to
the
understand.
secret was that. That was the secret. But shout outs to him. You know, we actually came together with this brilliant story, and it was written. I mean, he did a great job writing it, man. I mean, we kind of tweaked it. Yeah, you know, it's we're in the casting phases, so we're slated to shoot this year, and I'm excited about it. It's actually a great story, man. It's written very well,
Nice.
and
So we can look forward to Coexist on Indie Raps.
hell to the yeah, and
All
behind behind FYI, we're shooting behind the scenes of the making. It's starting now.
Do you need anything that for anybody in our audience that may need to come out to, and do you need any hands, any help, anything?
At this point, no.
Okay, all right, just checking.
Without my other
Other?
partner here, Noel. We're actually doing this together amongst other.
Which, by the way, Noel will be a guest on our show. Guess what? It's just been said, so now he has to be here.
Noel Torres.
Noel Torres.
What's up, Noel?
For
Has to
anybody
be a
that knows
guest
him
on
on EverQuest, his name
The
is
Gauntlet.
Dumar Darkender.
You're right.
Ooh, deep cuts. Conrad, let us know what's going on with you and what we can look forward to on Indie Raps.
We have tons of stuff going on, both with my company Digital Caviar and personally. Personally, I have a horror short film coming up, hoping to shoot. Hopefully none of the commercial stuff comes in the way, but June 21st and 22nd, I have a short film called East Bayside Park, and it's a horror film. I can't talk too much about what the content's about, but it is a horror film, and it's gonna be fun. It's nothing too crazy. I wouldn't say the script is crazy insightful, but I think it's gonna be a really fun film that will hopefully release in time for Halloween. And I'm really excited about it, but there's so much going on in June right now that it might get pushed back to July. But I'm really hoping that I can just stick to the original dates. I'm still casting for that right now, so if any 18 to 24-year-old women or men want to want to be in a movie, if you're just trying to get into acting, hit me up. If you guys are trying to just be a part of filmmaking, let me know. You guys can come on set. And I'm also looking for some other extras and stuff like that. So let me know. And
Is it a
we'll see what
horror,
happens.
correct?
Best way to
Can
let
I
him.
die in it?
You've died in every
I
film.
know, it's the whole fun part. Like, dude, that's the guy who dies in everything.
If they wanted to hit you up, what would be probably comment on the YouTube or inbox us through the Rap Party on
Sure.
Facebook, right?
Yep, that's perfect.
So hit us through the Rap Party on Facebook if you want to be a part of Conrad's film. Also hit us up on YouTube. Mind you, this is a time-sensitive thing, so please, if you're watching this 6 months from now, the movie's
Not too
done.
late.
The
So
date-
check the
Today's
timestamp.
date is.
Yeah. So, and Nadine, although she is not currently, she is a 3D animator and an artist. She has worked on a few things and is working with us on a couple of secretive projects. Nadine, anything that you want to say out to the crowd before we head out?
Keep working.
Keep working. Okay, well, we'll take that. We'll take that.
Keep
Keep
reaching for
working.
the stars and keep dreaming.
Yeah.
My name is Damien, and I'm here with representing 208. Really, we're talking about a couple of our own independent films. Actually, a very technical independent film.
I
so
can't wait for that one, man.
that's gonna be trying to say the least. So we have quite a number of technical hurdles to overcome. It's a sci-fi short involving some serious compositing and some serious rotoscoping. So. If of course we all have our fortes, and we want to push the forte of visual effects here at 208 Monkeys. So if anybody wants to help with rotoscoping, and we would really greatly appreciate that. There's a lot of frames per second to roto. So hit us up again on the Rap Party or on Indie Raps. We do have some upcoming guests, some upcoming directors. We're going to talk about casting a film. That's going to be one of our subjects coming up here soon. That is a definitely difficult process from a film director standpoint.
Yes, it is.
We will talk about budgeting a film, how to get budgets for your film, how to put them together. We will talk about how to find funding for your film, or how to save money for your film or on your film production. We have a lot of things coming up as far as independent filmmaking, so please stay tuned. We will be back next Thursday live on Facebook, next Friday on YouTube, so please hit us up with any questions you may have. Nadine, were there any last comments that we need to talk to about on Facebook here before we go? Nope. All right,
Zero.
great. Well then, thank you everybody. Raise your glasses. We appreciate you.
Thanks to the Bricks one more time for sponsoring us.
Thank you to the Bricks. Yes, absolutely, guys. They've been fantastic.
Bricks
That-
Ebor.
The Bricks Ebor, yes. Downstairs from the Rap Party here above where 208 and Digital Caviar and all of us reside. Everybody,
nectar of the
raise your
gods.
glass. The nectar of the gods, indeed.
The dreamers, guys, thank you.
Be a dreamer. Go
Yeah.
make your film. That's a wrap.
I had a booger in my nose the entire time. Did you not shut up? I didn't shoot each other.
He did have booger.
I did.